time is it, Kira?
It's time for the Stupid Podcast, Alex.
Episode 18. What are we talking about?
That unfortunate trilogy.
I thought you were going to say an unfortunate series of events.
Well, that too.
Well,
Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad.
Birds of Prey. Best one.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Well, we have a lot to discuss about this because we need to figure out why we disagree with
Because
the entire human
this is
race.
the main thing.
Apparently.
A lot of people agree on our opinions on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
A lot of people agree with our opinions on Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
The Suicide Squad. No.
Can't figure it out.
But we tried to figure out whether we were insane or not. Because everyone likes this film. Except us. And I don't know why.
I can't figure it out.
It is kind of weird.
I don't even know how critics like it though.
Yeah.
Like I am genuinely shocked. I should have looked up a critic review before, but I couldn't
Because
find anything.
I was waiting for it, because like mainly Rotten Tomatoes, like it was like 96 or something percent. No, it was like 100% to start off on or something. It dropped down. I think it's like at 96 or 97% now.
It says 91 when I looked it up.
Oh, well, 91 then.
That's still too high.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But then you have like the audience review, and I was like, oh, we'll soon see Rotten Tomatoes or something. Not 90%. I think it might have dropped down a little bit now, but it's around 90% anyways. So I because going into this film, like a year ago when when we got the first trailers from DC Fandom, I was like, oh yeah, this looks interesting. Oh, James Gunn, finally. I was excited for, a sequel to Suicide Squad for a start.
Mm-hmm. And
James Gunn, I was like, oh yeah, cool, because, this will be interesting. We'll get to see him, him and DC with, being R-rated for once. Him doing an R-rated superhero film. Because DC are cool and a lot of people to do that. Secondly, seeing him do a film outside of Guardians, because they kind of got stuck in that kind of world now. Because he's doing 2 more Guardians things. Like he's doing the Guardians holiday special.
I thought he got kicked off.
Oh well, yeah, no, he did get kicked off, but it was more of a temporary. He was fired temporarily, basically. Oh, he is back.
Why though?
Oh, because of all the Twitter stuff.
Yeah.
All tweets that they found.
Yeah, but why did they let him back?
Because the news calmed down about him. People calmed down.
So does that mean they're going to let your one back, the Mando?
No.
Gina. Why?
Very different cases. Anyways, digressions.
Not really. I read one of his tweets there. It was very nice.
Yeah, I know. But it's Disney. Moving on. Well, you see, the thing is, I was very excited for this film. Even when the first trailer came out, I was like, it looks alright. Like, the jokes were kind of funny, but the odd one was... which we'll get into more in the actual film itself. Yeah. Then the recent trailer came out, or the second trailer came out, and I was like, oh, it's just not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the film, and I was like, oh, it's not good, is it? But,
this is why, first of all, I don't watch trailers. Second of all, don't care about any of these movies, and only I'm doing it because you forced me to.
Well, it was more of,
Look, only for Birds of Prey was an enjoyable movie. I would have murdered you because they were that was the most painful experience of my life, back to back.
I have no doubt. But I just want to know whether I was just insane or not. Apparently not, so that's okay. Or maybe we both
we're both just
yeah.
insane. I don't know, we done Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. We done Space Jam, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and that was painful.
But this was worse. This was worse.
I don't know. Was it just that I really have started to hate Warner Brothers or something? But
well, we have seen a lot of their films. Have you noticed? I find it strange that everyone likes this but us. This film, mainly. This is a weird coincidence. This rarely happens, because at least you get some people like, oh, it's bad. But no, everyone is against this in this. Everyone likes this movie. Every review we've seen, people have been loving this film. Are we just insane? Because, we'll get into it later, because I think we should just start talking about them in chronological order.
Okay.
And then leave this one till the end.
Oh, not the order I watched them in.
No, that would just... No. because you watch them in a very odd order.
Okay.
But it's just easier to talk about them in release order, if you know what I mean. So if we start with Suicide Squad,
Okay.
then Birds of Prey.
Okay.
And then we end on the Suicide Squad. It's just easier to sort of chat rather than just going back and forth. But no. I mean, you were talking about trailers there, but I find watching a trailer, if you weren't sure about a film going, you know, like you're not going to go see a film you're not sure about. You're going to watch a trailer to make sure it's like, oh, does it look alright? You know, does it look bad? Does it look good? Because if you see a bad trailer, you're not probably going to go watch the film. You know, The Unholy with Jeffrey Dean Morgan springs to mind. God built a church. Oh God! But no, Suicide Squad. You'd never seen it before.
No, well, you had.
Seen it many times.
No, you showed it to me like the first 20 minutes, and I was like, no, I can't. There was, first of all, too many characters introduced and
Within
too many different songs.
5 minutes.
It was so I actually, my brain was melting from that much stuff, and then I was like, no, turned off, and then I said I would never ever watch them. And obviously,
and then the second one came
away.
The second one is not really a sequel, or it's sort of a soft reboot, but it's not really confirmed.
Well, I didn't watch the trailer, and that trailer you showed me earlier, like what originally.
The original Suicide Squad. Oh yeah, the first trailer we got. Yeah.
Well, I don't like films that take themselves well seriously when they're like comic book films. But
then there's the other end of the scale.
I do just like DC not being Marvel. And that's where I feel like I didn't enjoy these movies as much, because like they were
trying to be
something they're not, like.
Well, I think the good thing about DC is they'll allow their directors to be experimental. Like I think the great thing about DC is, and a lot of people say it as a shit show, but I'm like, yeah, but the weird thing is you can talk to a Marvel fan, and you know what the 3 favorite movies are gonna be. But if you talk to a DC fan, they all have like a different favorite film. You know, because then you have like Zack's trilogy, which is sort of like this sort of like very raw, realistic, but also sort of like mythological kind of storytelling. But then you have stuff like Shazam, which is just this really family-friendly comedy, which is basically just big, but in a superhero. And then you have like Aquaman, which is just like that Indiana Jones adventure kind of film. But then you have like Birds of Prey, which is sort of just this like really weird Deadpool fun mental thing. What I'm saying is just there's so much variety you get with these films, and they're all like R-rated, PG-13. You know, there's no, it's not just strictly PG-13 all the way through, like Marvel has.
I like that.
You know,
well, it's catering not
all audiences, rather than just
well,
everyone.
It's not
at the
just
same
about
time.
making money when it's just open to everybody.
Well, it is about making money.
It obviously is, but it's a different strategy.
Oh yeah.
Which I prefer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, that is 26% Rotten Tomatoes.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is understandable why it's so low, but I can't understand why the Suicide Squad is not right beside it. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. About it.
Well, like I find it weird that like Justice League has like 50% or something.
Yeah. Well. I think the only way would be to see the Ayer cut.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be like an amazing. Like I don't think I'm gonna enjoy as much as I'm gonna enjoy, like that I enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No, I don't.
But I think I will enjoy it more than the theatrical cut of the film.
Well, it would, yeah.
You know.
Well, if it was intended to be a darker film,
and then you
get loads of like weird jokes, and it was edited so bad. Oh my god. You said it was by guys that do trailers.
Yeah, it's Trailer Park. That
that's just
all they do is trailers. That was basically edited by them, and
that
they're like,
should not be allowed.
Well, I feel bad for the guy who has the credit as being the editor, because he's an actual editor. And imagine he's like, "Oh, I worked on Suicide Squad." No, you didn't. You know what I mean?
That is cruel. I would not accept credits for that.
No, Dan Gilroy. Fucking hell.
Yeah, that was bad.
It's just a very dour film. But then it's not. It is weird because it's trying to take itself seriously, but then there's jokes in it that just don't, there's a lot in Suicide Squad that just doesn't work because it is trying to fight itself, but I think it's less obnoxious than Justice League because at least they're shot and directed, even the reshoots.
Yeah.
That's why it looks consistent.
Consistent, yeah.
Compared to like Justice League.
But in saying that, it isn't that consistent in the sense of the actual content.
Oh yeah.
Because, well, obviously the Harley Quinn and the Joker
relationship,
then like
that's very obvious.
Whatever your man's called, Deadshot, is that his name?
Well, yeah, because like there was a lot of plot lines taken from the film in the reshoots, but at the same time, you can tell what was because a lot of Jared Leto's scenes are edited poorly because they removed the stuff out of it, and you can see with like a lot of the jump cuts and ADR that he was obviously meant to be saying different things. It was meant to be a different scene. And I don't think it's fair to judge him in that film.
I want to know what his Joker was actually
like. I rather people see like his the actual the proper cut of that film and be like, oh I don't like him as Joker, but fair enough.
Yeah.
But viewing him in this is sort of like, well, it's kind of unfair because it was like poorly handled.
Yeah, we didn't actually get to see his performance at all.
Like a great example is like a lot of people didn't like Cyborg and Flash in Justice League. And that's because all their scenes were removed and cut, and that's why people liked them in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh, they're like the heart of
the film,
Snyder cut,
especially Cyborg.
Yeah, the best characters, really.
Oh yeah.
I think too many characters, like obviously they're in a squad, in a team movie.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of characters, but I think you have to allow some to just be background characters and just pick your ones that people are going to care about. Like, you can have the background characters have wee compelling storylines, but they don't have to be wild. The problem is they were spreading it too thin, and we're meant to have like emotional moments between like Joker and Deadshot and
Harley.
The fire guy, El Diablo.
Well, yeah.
Even Rick Flag, and you don't, and with him and the girlfriend and the
Enchantress,
villain,
like you can
you don't
see.
care about any of them.
No, that's because you can see, and especially in the trailers, there's a lot of it where it is just cut out in the relationships between these characters, because I think that's weirdly enough something that the Suicide Squad does better, and that's why a lot of people prefer the Suicide Squad, is because at least the characters in it have relationships.
Yeah.
But imagine all those relationships were cut up and mashed around together, reshot to not be those and be something else completely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main problem with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's very unfair to compare these films, because one is a director's true vision of the film and one is just a studio completely interfering with one's work.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfair in a way.
Oh yeah, no, so unfair. Well, I don't think it'll have been a far better film, but I think the Air Cut will definitely have been better than the Suicide Squad for me. I think it'll definitely have been better.
Do you think?
Oh, because
the James Gunn's?
There's so many things. I just don't like James Gunn, but there's so many things in the Suicide Squad that, like you said, like they did show the relationships between characters, but they didn't really. Like, you see them, but they're kind of like Marvel movies where they're just there.
Oh, they're just quipping.
They're not really established or, developed or anything. So you just you don't really care, like.
Yeah.
But you care more than you did for Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah. Well, weirdly enough, Suicide Squad, I think the dark tone fits that film. And I remember, like, even when the Suicide Squad got announced, I said, I love the idea. I love that. Imagine it's a trilogy of films, but everyone's a completely different squad.
Yeah.
I prefer that idea.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to see, well, honestly, I would have preferred if it was a completely new squad and the Suicide Squad. Yeah. But obviously, they're trying to do this weird sequel, soft reboot, unconfirmed kind of a thing, But
well, it was okay for me because I hadn't seen any of the characters before,
so there was like a new
So I actually really enjoyed Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad. I actually thought he was really good, even though I keep calling him Brick Flag from Impossible.
Or
Anyway.
Dick Flag, because
All the dick
all the
jokes.
fucking dick jokes in that film.
Oh, I actually think, and it's something I know I'm comparing again, but I think it's just Will Smith's natural charm. The only relationship I cared about in Suicide Squad was his with his daughters, and I think it's just because Will Smith knows that. Like, he's just
Will Smith just
he's just a dad though.
Yeah, Will Smith. You see, this is it was
Whereas
a smart
Idris
move.
Elba did not play well. Like, you didn't care about him.
No.
And his daughter's relationship. It was
Well, I
like
think that was
something
intentional,
weird.
but at the end, it was just like, alright, he's trying to.
Yeah, but I didn't care at the end because
No,
I'm
no.
like, you're a terrible father.
Yeah.
You can never make up for the fact that you roared at your child like in front, like at the prison. Oh my god, no, I wasn't dealing with that.
Well, you see, this is my thing. Suicide Squad, first one obviously. Suicide Squad. I feel. I think it makes. I think it does one thing better than the Suicide Squad 100% definitely, and that is making these characters feel like they're in this universe, and that's because of Affleck.
Yeah.
Because saying that Bloodsport, which is Idris Elba's character, oh yeah, he's in here for shooting Superman with Kryptonite bullet. We didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
No, but just saying something doesn't mean anything, but showing it means more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it meant more seeing Affleck
It was cool.
actually,
being a-
because these are his villains.
Yeah.
He obviously captured Deadshot, which is a big Batman villain. Same with Harley Quinn, obviously.
Uh-huh.
That scene was obviously edited as well, so there was
Yeah.
a bit more dialogue in there.
And
'Cause-
I'd love to see more with
Well, there is a lot more
Affleck
Affleck in that film.
and Joker and Harley. I
Yeah.
think that would have been class.
Because even like showing the Flash for one scene means more than. Well, I find it kind of funny because Captain Boomerang is the Flash's. He's one of the Flash's villains, like.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice wee small nod and stuff. But those little things make it feel more connected than just saying, yeah, he shot Superman.
Yeah.
Great. I didn't get to see it. I don't know what it could be a different Superman. This could be a different universe. It doesn't. But by showing like Affleck and Ezra Miller's Flash, it shows that alright, it's connected to this. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Even having Affleck in the after credit scene,
Mm-hmm.
setting up a potential Suicide Squad versus Justice League,
That would be
you
cool.
know,
Yeah.
which would have been interesting.
Yeah, would have been very fun.
Hmm.
Oh, they just really messed up the whole DCU, didn't they? They had so much potential.
Well, the weird thing was, it was only 2 films in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what everyone complained about because it was
Well,
just.
they clearly didn't have a plan in place.
Well, they did.
Yeah, but
Warner Brothers didn't. That was the problem.
yeah, no, that's what
Zach
I mean.
had a plan,
Yeah.
and Zach worked with all these directors, and was like, "Oh yeah, you can use this, you can use that." And,
Yeah.
especially like Patty Jenkins and David Ayer, 'cause those were like the only 2 big projects in the works at the start. After BVS, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you could do this, and it could connect this way, and you could do that, and it could connect this way and stuff." And then since Warner Brothers like kept trying to like push Snyder out, it ultimately collapsed their own. It was a house of cards, and you took away one of the pieces, and the whole thing collapsed. That's exactly what it was, though.
Yeah.
It was mainly studio interference. Now, I'm not saying studio interference is a bad thing. I think there just needs to be a good blend of it, and I think you've really seen that in comparison with Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad. One which was clearly micromanaged by a studio,
Yeah.
and the other where a director had too much control.
Yeah.
Where I think you need to have this balance of both.
Yeah.
I
just think they should, like, the studio should have had a clear path, like, just for the next 10 years, this is what we want to release.
Or even 5.
But 5 is
Even
enough.
5.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, they just should know if they're going to make a universe, you have to have some plan. You can't be throwing out things left, right, and centre. Like,
weirdly enough, Zach would just be like, "Yeah, there's Ryan Choi. Yeah, I was going to do a completely Chinese cast. It was going to be a Chinese film about the Atom." Like, that's just one character that's in one scene in the film. And you can set up a whole film for that, you know what I mean, the whole character, you know what I mean, like little things, and that's all the kind of, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
It's the little things that connect everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I obviously have notes.
Oh,
I
yes.
just wanted to say, oh no.
Kira's 3 pages of notes.
Well, I love
This
my
time.
notes for Birds of Prey is so short because I was like, I don't really have any
Yeah.
criticisms of this. Really.
Yeah.
But I do have stop narrating fucking everything in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I think that was mainly...
That's due to
That's just...
the
'cause,
chopping up.
yeah, they were like,
scenes
right,
and
we're going to
everything.
chop all this up, we're going to be like, and then it's mainly the first 40 minutes of the film is completely different
Hmm.
because a lot of it was meant to be in chronological order, a lot of it was reshot, a lot of it was messed about and jumbled about,
Yeah.
and then ultimately you can see the final product being shit. And that's why there's a lot of narration, because the narration's very obvious. It's a lot of ADR.
Yeah. Well, she's perfect for to
Viola
narrate.
Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and her Waller and everything is amazing, and she's very good at actually narrating. I just don't think it works because it's just clearly there to
It's
fill
clearly
in the
shot.
gaps.
Yeah.
Really.
It was
Whereas,
clearly...
because I hated the narration initially in Birds of Prey, but I was like, but it makes sense because it's the character's POV.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, it's just
And
really...
it was written with the intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole film was filmed with the intention that there was gonna be, whereas
Yeah.
Suicide Squad didn't have the intention of being, narrated, for example, like...
Yeah. Well, Waller explaining everything, like narrating, is just really cheap way of just giving exposition.
But I think
rather
that
than
was...
showing
Yeah.
it.
But, like, we agree in terms of, like, we know that was not... that was obviously... a couple of weeks before the film was coming, like, because you can tell in those montages they're reusing shots later in the line,
Yeah, and they
like
don't
scenes
work.
that they use later on,
Yeah.
and even scenes you don't see in the film, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
That were obviously shot to be in the film. But yeah, any other?
But it does look better than the Suicide Squad.
Well, I think that was mainly like cinematography wise, but also just color grading. I think color grading, because I think
Yeah.
my problem with the Suicide Squad is it has the color grading of Marvel.
It's
where
really
it's
white, really bright,
everything's
and
bright,
blown out.
colorful.
Yeah,
And I think,
but not interesting because like Birds of Prey is really colorful, but there's a lot of contrast.
but even Zack Snyder's Justice League is a dark film that's also somehow colorful,
Yeah,
which is weird, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like I think I think it's mainly a color grading thing.
yeah.
And I think James Gunn was like, yeah, because it looks worse than. Do you know what it looks like? And I know why. It looks like Guardians 2. And it's because the cinematographer for Guardians 2 worked on it.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you look at Guardians 1, which is very good, very
Yeah.
good visually,
Yeah,
like you have your shadows in there and stuff, cinematography wise, it looks good, looks real,
yeah.
not blown out brightness. It's the complete opposite in Volume 2, and you can tell it's a different cinematographer,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I don't like Volume 2. But
Yeah.
This is James Gunn run.
Yeah.
Later.
Anyways. Any other notes for Suicide Squad?
No, well, I just said too many shitty jokes. Music. It's just like somebody has their playlist on shuffle.
Yeah.
The browser history joke wasn't funny. I actually remember writing that too. They cut out the most interesting parts of Harley and Joker's relationship.
That being all of it.
Well, this is what we were arguing about was I was like, oh, obviously Harley Quinn is just a sex object in this, but she had an interesting, well, from what you told me, she seemed to have an interesting
reason for it.
Yeah, cause
like
she
a
was
reason as
being
to what.
in
Yeah, she was
an
basically
abusive
being.
relationship,
Yeah, she was in an abusive relationship, and she's basically being forced to do all these things. But
yeah,
it's sort of that kind of like Stockholm syndrome thing where you don't see what's going. And there's nothing going wrong. There's nothing wrong happening essentially.
yeah.
It was sort of that, and
then
then
it would have perfectly led on to her own movie.
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, I think
but
know.
it just doesn't happen in Suicide
Well, I think
Squad at
these
all.
three films work together. I just feel that the missing link is the Suicide Squad, the
Yeah.
air cut of it, because I feel that will really tie into the second film,
Mhm.
and then your Birds of Prey, obviously, and then especially the Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
I think we'll get like a proper, because this is really a Harley Quinn trilogy of all things.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, she is the character that has the most well, she's consistent, isn't she? She's in the character in all three. Is
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, she's best in Birds of Prey, I feel.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, compared to the other two.
Yeah, which I think is because she was written by a woman.
Yeah, and directed by a woman.
That could be a very controversial thing to say. Well, I do think
female writers understand female. Yeah.
Well, and male.
Mm.
Not that you can write both, but
you
some
can
people
both can
are
write
better.
both. It's
yeah.
just some can write women.
Well, I think when it comes to a character that is completely sexualized, it is harder for a man to write them with like depth to them, because all they see is the sex object and they miss the entire layers, everything underneath. Why I like Birds of Prey a lot. I think that's why I really like. I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Should we move on to Birds of Prey?
Yeah, can we stop talking about Suicide Squad now? So depressing.
So Birds of Prey.
Uh-huh.
You liked it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I didn't think I was gonna.
Well, no, you didn't think, because you weren't a big Harley Quinn fan. You just don't like her voice.
Yeah.
But it has
like
grown on you.
Yeah. Well, I love Margot Robbie. I just couldn't get past the voice, and then I think after having watched the two other ones, I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than I eventually liked."
Because it was the last one you watched as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a pick me up.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel while the Suicide Squad try to experiment with stuff, Birds of Prey does it and does it well.
Yeah.
Like even the opening being this like Looney Tunes-esque animation, you know what I mean? That looks good. Like it visually looks good. It's a good storytelling aspect and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Harley Quinn's just a Looney Tunes character, isn't she?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, which I really love. You got a bag on that.
Oh yeah, but like I think the thing with this film is I think the reason the action looks good and it stands out compared to like other films, because I think the action DC is very good. I just think there's a lot of different varieties of it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like if you look at Aquaman, you have these long one take shot, and it's all like fun. But it's James Wan style clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like David F. Sandberg and Shazam, although the action scenes aren't that amazing, but still his Zack, same sort of thing as well. You can clearly see it's Zack's kind of type of action.
Yeah.
You can.
He's wonderful at action.
Oh yeah, like you can really see it in Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can really see, because they got the guy who did the stunts for or choreography for John Wick.
Yeah.
Or one of the John Wick films.
Well, the action I think has to suit the character, like the type of fighting, like the fighting style.
Oh yeah,
and I think it really works in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Because she's quite
over the top and extravagant, but
yeah,
sort of like
kind of
graceful.
A graceful.
Yeah.
Which I know they did that in Suicide Squad, but it was like hypersexualized, whereas in Birds of Prey,
and it was all jump cuts and quick.
Yeah. It's actually, it's not like, it doesn't feel really sexy or anything. She still looks amazing doing all these things, like all this fighting.
Well, I think there's some amazing action pieces, like even like the finale with the rollerblades and the.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So like
the rollerblades chasing after the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like
really
that's shot really well as well. Because I think you can have great choreography, but it can't show. But I think you have to have a good blend of choreography and cinematography.
Yeah.
Because you have to show how well it looks as well. So I think that's the one thing Birds of Prey does well. It's shot really well in terms of the action.
Do you reckon Margot Robbie actually was really good at rollerblading because she had been ice skating?
I imagine so.
Do they like?
Imagine they correlate, yeah. But again, I think there was some stunt doubles as well.
Yeah. Oh no, she done the whole thing herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. She flipped onto that car. It was all real. Yeah.
But no, I think. Yeah, I think like. I enjoy a lot of things of Birds of Prey. Like, it was my second viewing of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I do enjoy like all the characters. And I like the jokes. The jokes work. Mm-hmm. They are funny.
Yeah.
Which I know is comedy subjective and stuff, but the Suicide Squad, how many fucking dick jokes can we take? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But Birds of Prey, like, right, for example, I've seen Suicide Squad about 7 times, maybe more. Mm-hmm. I've seen Birds of Prey twice.
Yeah.
And I've seen the Suicide Squad twice.
Yeah.
And Birds of Prey is the best one of the 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like everything's kind of good. The villain's good. quite terrifying in some scenes.
Yeah, well, it's just
well, Ewan's really good as
He's
Black
really good,
Mask,
yeah.
because I was very afraid, because I was like, oh, they're changing the character of Black Mask a lot. Then I watched film, I was like, oh no, this completely works. Like,
He is terrifying though, because you
he
think
is funny,
he's
and then it's like when he's getting your own, like, go up and dance. And he's,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that was horrifying.
Yeah, he's really,
was.
he is terrifying, because there's just silence in the entire, like, the music just stops and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a very good villain.
Yeah.
I think he does a great job being Black Mask though.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Victor Zsasz is in it. Interesting interpretation of Victor Zsasz. Again, I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I don't know. I feel like the only problem I have with Birds of Prey is the title of the film. It shouldn't be called Birds of Prey. Because it is Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and the emancipation of Birds of Prey. Is that what you want to call it?
Yeah, that should have been the proper title.
Hmm.
Because that is what it is, a Harley Quinn film. Like, and that's why a week or two after the film came out,
Yeah.
cinemas started changing the name to the Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it is a Harley Quinn movie. I can't figure out why.
Because the sales dropped, because people were like, oh, what's the Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. I don't know why they didn't
Yeah.
just market it as a Harley Quinn film.
Yeah.
Because it would have made a lot more.
Mm.
Like, it did make 200 million off a 80 million budget. I think 87 million or something.
I just really liked it because it's really hard to get you to watch like girly films, and it was
It's
just
not really a girly film.
no, but it wasn't a girly film. But I felt there was like a lot of things in it that was like, oh, this is the kind of comedy that I like, and this is the kind of.
But I think it was a good
content.
film. That's why I.
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of good films out there that are known for being.
But they're
chick
not that
flicks.
experimental.
You don't know. You won't watch them with me.
Anyways, digressions.
Yeah.
I think Cathy Yan should come back.
Yeah, she's.
I'm hoping they'll do a Gotham City Sirens. I know Margot Robbie keeps trying to push it.
That would be so cool.
Oh yeah, especially now that we are getting a Batgirl film.
Yeah.
It could tie in. Because Margot Robbie keeps being like, I just want to see Poison Ivy. Can we just cast some of this Poison? She just wants some Harley Quinn Poison Ivy relationship film, like.
My favorite part about one of the fighting, you know when they're fighting in the like fun house or whatever. At the end.
Oh, at the end, yeah.
Do you know when she's tying her hair up?
Oh yeah, she has her hair well. It's like, oh here, tie your.
It's like this is the
And
most
she's
realistic
fighting someone
thing.
while tying her hair. Yeah. Well, Black Canary.
Because
yeah.
you can't have your hair all over the place. Like you just wouldn't be
No.
able to see what you're doing, and people
No.
would so easily use that against you.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great. I loved all the characters in it. I love your one, Huntress.
Oh, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah. Because
She's just so lame. Well, you can clearly tell she just hasn't been, like, a human in front of people for a long period of time. She doesn't know how to interact with people.
No, but she's really bad socially, and
yeah.
I feel like that sometimes. And I was like, oh my god, I love that character. It's
She's
so
trying to be
relatable.
cool, but then she's just like, oh no, it's not working.
She's not cool, but she is cool in her own way. But she is. Just
But it makes
very
sense with the
hard.
character. Because she's just been, locked away in a house with two blokes helping her train for like 20 years or something.
Which is really interesting. I did actually like, because they did it in the Suicide Squad, which was pissing me off, but they also did it in Birds of Prey, where you're following a sequence and then they're like, oh, there's a missing detail, and then it takes you back to like 5-10 minutes before, and it was really jarring in the Suicide Squad because I thought, no, you could just cut this differently.
Because it works in Birds of Prey because Harley Quinn's narrating it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really slow down the moment. Like it kind of paced. It is still paced well. It doesn't.
Yeah, because like I think there are some pacing issues in this film.
Yeah.
But I feel that's an example where it works because you're having a really quick action sequence, but then it's slowing you down for a bit to get to the next action sequence, which will eventually slow you down. But I think there are some small pacing issues in that film.
Yeah,
it's my only complaint with Birds of Prey would be there is some pacing issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Structurally, I'm fine. It's just pacing of scenes kind of just like, oh, it's dragging a bit.
Yeah.
Or it's going too quick. Mainly the third act.
Yeah.
Third act's just
It's
like
very...
the last half hour is just non-stop. Alright, you think this is going to be the last... No.
Yeah.
Okay, you think this is going to be... No. Oh, you think this is going to be the last... Okay, this last...
That, I don't know why. Is that just something that keeps happening? That I felt like that happened in all three of these movies, where I was like, oh, this is the climax, and then I was like, how is this not the climax?
Well, I think the only one
that
that is forgivable is Suicide Squad, because the third act was reshot.
Reshot, yeah.
So that's the only one I give sort of a pass to, because
Yeah.
it was like, we don't know what the original third act was.
Yeah. No, they're just
could be a Dark Phoenix situation.
Oh, don't talk about Dark Phoenix. But yeah, no, there's so many times in both, like, all the films where it's just like, how... oh wait, we're at the end, and then we just check and there was still like 20 minutes left, and I'm like, how is there still 20 minutes
You would
left?
think, yeah. I think when you're watching some, it's different though.
No, but it was just the way it was structured. Like, it was right in the Suicide Squad, which we'll get to.
Yeah, soon.
I think that's where my main issue lies.
Yeah, oh, I completely agree.
It didn't annoy me as much
but
as
I
Birds
think,
of Prey, but it really annoyed me in the Suicide Squad.
I think the main thing that the two Suicide Squad films, the big problem they have is editing.
Yeah.
And the one, again, I just give a pass to Suicide Squad because it's, again, Warner Brothers kind of forced everyone's hand into editing this in a certain way.
Yeah.
But then there's the Suicide Squad, which is like, no, this had a lot of time and it wasn't rushed, and it was like, this was always meant to be the way it was meant to be. Like, there was no changes to it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Just strange.
Yeah.
I don't think I wrote anything else. I liked how all she wanted was to get an egg McMuffin or something.
Oh, the egg sandwich.
Egg sandwich and
well, because it's actually not actual eggs. I think they're duck eggs they use in that. Cause,
well, duck eggs are eggs.
No, I know, but they're not chicken's eggs, because Margot Robbie's allergic to like egg whites and chicken eggs, I think.
Oh.
Apparently.
Well, I just kind of smiled whenever, because it was like obviously this really sexy scene of food, and you just know it was like directed by a woman.
Yeah.
Because the sexualization of food.
Yeah.
was so great. I loved it.
Because that's something again to the Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn and your man.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was that's a bit weird. By the way, you know, again, I always forget to say spoilers. For the
oh yeah. All right.
I know we're like over 30 minutes into this, but no, because like I think we both have the same opinion on reviews. Where no one really listens to reviews now without having already seen the film.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a big thing that a lot of people forget about. It's like, the reviews have changed in terms of, they used to be about, oh, what's this film going to be like? But now it's like, oh, I know what this film's like.
Yeah.
What's this, you know, what's someone else's opinion on it?
Yeah.
Because I don't think...
Well, you said at the start the movies we were going to talk about, if we had put a spoiler for something else in there.
Yeah.
For a different movie we hadn't mentioned before.
We would do that, obviously.
Yeah, that would be different.
But
I'd be pissed off then. It'd be like real...
Because, like, I don't listen to... Like, I don't want someone to sit and tell me the whole fucking film. You know, word for word, basically. It's just like, great, I know, fucking tell me everything. This isn't a review. This you just tell me everything that happens in the film. Like...
Yeah. We move on.
Yeah.
Last film, get it over and done with. Goodbye.
Well, this is going to be the longest one to talk about, I imagine. It's going to be the most painful one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't like James Gunn.
Why?
Well, I don't mind Guardians. I've only ever seen it once.
First one.
I do hate Chris Pratt, which I think Chris Pratt is the epitome of James Gunn movies. Just that character, that douchebag. Can't understand why it's so highly rated, to be honest. What,
96? Or 91 now, is it?
Well, we already said it doesn't look good.
No.
I just want bland. They don't feel like it really needed an R rating.
No.
Because it was really corny.
Yeah, because Birds of Prey I can give a pass for an R rating. Because the stuff in it, I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of works. Whereas this feels very forced.
Yeah, very forced. It was more just played for laughs.
Yeah, well, it's just like, oh, look, blood.
Yeah.
It's something people give Zach shit for, though, remember?
Well, I just think if a film is R-rated, you have to have a commentary on why of the violence in it for some reason. But they're just doing it for laughs, but it just wasn't funny. Like your man getting his head sliced after, the opening, like the whole shambles of a thing whenever they land on the island.
Well, I think the opening sequence, like the opening 10 minutes of the film, up until the logo of the film, it's pretty poorly. Like, it's bad opening.
It looks like a set too, because
it is a set.
No,
the
I
whole
know.
beach is a set. It's very obvious.
It looks like a set.
Yeah, because they built a whole set, a whole beach with palm trees and stuff, but they built like an ocean system so that there'd be waves coming in. And I was like, what a waste of money, because it's so obviously it would have been cheaper to buy an island, I imagine, and just film there.
Truman Show.
But no, like, I think the problem with this film is James Gunn.
Yeah.
Because he's too much control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't mind a lot of characters in this film.
No.
Like, because everyone said, oh, this film's very shocking. The only thing that shocked me was Captain Boomerang dying at the start.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that I got surprised. I was like, oh, right, fuck, they killed him. Fucking hell. Rick Flag dying, not really shocking.
No, I think it was fitting.
It worked with his character, and so
and I did care about him because I thought he was a decent character.
Yeah.
I hated Pokemon, the polka dot guy.
Pokemon. Oh, his death.
That's terrible.
See, all the deaths at the start I'm kind of fine with.
Being played for laughs.
Yeah, because it's like...
I think anyone that survives...
Because there's so many dying at the start.
Yeah.
Straight away, it's kind of like, oh, fair enough. Like...
Yeah.
And
but once it was down to like the last 4 or 5, I was like, you can't be taking the piss now. Like, it's just not funny.
Where it just gets squished and it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Because they do, he said I'm a superhero, and then they cut away to a wide shot that's so obvious that he's going to get squished or thrown or something, and he gets squished, and that's kind of it. Like,
I just thought they did him so dirty though, because like his character, whenever they're all...
But he died happy.
No, but he didn't get... No, but
he didn't get closure.
It's so typical
I know.
that the character who's played for laughs has been like weak and like he's polka dots all over him. Like, he's so different in even comparison to like the strong men in it. It's so typical that he's played for laughs. He doesn't get an emotional goodbye, like, whereas Rick Flag gets one because he's like tough guy. Do you know what I mean? It's just a stereotype, like.
And then Peacemaker dies but doesn't die.
Well, it's John Cena.
Well, I was surprised that he was... I was more shocked, because like, going in this film, I was like, oh yeah, John Cena's dying. Because I just knew his character was going to die, and I was like, oh, and then when they said they were bringing out the TV show, I was like, oh, it must be a prequel. No. Apparently it's both.
Oh, great.
It's going to be going from past to present.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how that's going to work, but someone raised a good point, and I only saw this recently, and I never really thought about it. Why is Peacemaker in prison?
Because he kills people?
Yeah, for the government. For peace.
Yeah, but the government probably are like, oh, well, we don't want to take responsibility.
But Waller, he's under Waller's control, remember?
Yeah, but she throws them all under the bus. She's
I
like,
know.
I don't, like, the government are not associated with
know.
it. Peacemaker probably works of his own.
Why are they making him do it again? He's got his own TV show about him. I don't get... They never say why he's in prison. He's the only one we don't kind of figure out why he's in prison for.
I feel like either they're going to explain that in the TV show.
I understand that, but why... Obviously a TV show wasn't going to originally, when they made the film, was going to happen. So why not explain it?
Because it's a terrible movie, Alex.
No, I know, but it's kind of weird that they explain a lot of these characters. Oh, why are they in prison and stuff? It's like, well, we fucking know. One's a weasel. Jesus, look at him. He killed 27 children or something. Kind of apparent that he's in fucking jail.
Yeah. The rat girl.
The rat girl.
Rat catcher.
Yeah, she was just a thief. They explain her.
She's nice, so.
Don't know why Taika's in the film. He's in, two scenes? Pointless.
Well, I don't know if I liked the parallel between Ratcatcher and El
Diablo or Idris Elba.
I
don't get that, because I don't like it when two characters are just explaining.
But
obvious stuff that's so plainly obvious
Yeah.
that, you know, it
I
can be
don't
done
like-
subtly, that you don't need to tell me what's going on.
yeah.
You remind me of my daughter. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
he didn't
No, you
need to
don't. You,
say
didn't,
that.
you never fucking knew her, you dog.
Obviously. Yeah, exactly. All you could
You
have
remind
done-
me of my father.
Yeah. Well, I just hate the whole father-daughter relationship between those characters. So Idris Elba.
Yeah, it didn't really
his
work.
daughter. That's
Like, I never got that off them. Like, I never felt like that would have worked at all.
Yeah.
Like, watching it, I would never have connected those at all. No, because it doesn't make fucking
Yeah.
sense. I know you're trying to do that, and you can do it well. This
Yeah.
isn't a time, this isn't an example of doing it well, for example.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, like you said, he doesn't have the compassion that Will Smith naturally has.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, he is colder or something. There's just not. I don't know.
I could see it, because obviously Will Smith was meant to be
Yeah.
Deadshot
Well,
in this. It's very obvious.
yeah.
Because, like, if you see Bloodsport and Rick Flagg's relationship, it's very similar to the, Will Smith and Rick Flagg's relationship at the end of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell, like, that was meant to be that character, and then they're just like, we'll just make Bloodsport.
Mm. But I do actually like Idris Elba in it, though.
Oh, I don't mind him, yeah, no, I enjoy
Like,
his
he is
character.
quite funny at times. I do.
So I know he's pitching a prequel now.
Well, I just like him in anything,
Yeah.
but I just don't think his character was written well
No.
for that like, secondary storyline. or whatever.
Yeah.
But just with the daughter, that was the only thing I didn't think.
Because I didn't like a lot about this. Like, I thought what was really disappointing was the soundtrack, which is something you don't really see from a James Gunn film.
Yeah.
Even Guardians 2, I don't enjoy it, but I like the soundtrack and it fits well within the film.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the first film, obviously the first film. The music just didn't really fit, I feel.
Yeah.
But weirdly, it was obviously written with the intention of these songs being in it, but it didn't fit the scenes they were in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Um,
I'm kind of over the whole, licensed music. or
well, there's so many plot holes in the Suicide Squad. Like, remember when they crash the truck that they're held in, and you know how there's like a couple of trucks falling after them,
Yeah.
but then they fall off the little small hill area.
Yeah.
No one comes after them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No one comes
Yeah, I
after
forgot
them.
about that, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
What the fuck was their plan? We'll get captured and escape. And then, how did we know we were all gonna escape this way? And so, it's so, clearly a written story, and it doesn't feel natural, if you know what I mean, like where these characters are going.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel the big problem with this film is too much creative control.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn had far too much say in this.
Yeah.
And, they're seeing it in the box office now. Because this film needs to make, 300 million at least to break even.
That's bad.
And it's really dropped in numbers. Because if you think about HBO Max, and most people just are streaming it now, that no one's really bothered to go to the cinema for. And it's an R-rated superhero film,
Yeah.
which is very hard to, and they're with characters that no one really knows or cares. You know what I mean? No.
Yeah.
So it's very weird.
I hated the chapter titles.
Oh
Integrate.
yeah, where they're integrated into the film.
Yeah.
I hate
So
that. I
tacky.
don't like it when films do that. Well, I do when they're playfully done and done well.
Yeah.
But they were sort of it's sort of like, if you were 12 and you're making a film, you thought this would be a really smart thing to do. That's
Yeah.
what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah.
But are we just cynical? Are we just like the only people that hate this film?
I don't know. I feel no right. Possibly yes, but and you know how I feel because I've already done a rant on it. But I'm going to do it for the sake of the podcast. The third act, right? Whenever they're in Jotunheim and the two teams split up or whatever, and you have the whole thing with Rick Flag and John Cena.
You're talking about the editing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the parallel sequence, but that happens after, like, chronologically, they're playing, like, they're
essentially what you're saying
they're happening
is,
at the same time.
yeah,
but
there's two
one is
different
played
events.
completely through,
Yeah, 'cause
and then we go back.
it says 8 minutes later or
Yeah.
earlier. Sorry. Yeah.
Whereas in a like a
They
normal
should have been
thing
edited
to do.
together, and it would have been more intense.
Yeah, in parallel, and then you would have had certain points where you hit, and like it would have been so much more emotional had we seen Rick Flag dies, and then immediately after we have Ratcatcher, you know, being the gun held up, like him going to kill
Peacemaker
Ratcatcher,
getting
and
shot,
then and then Idris Elba like lands down.
And then we get their like.
Because it doesn't kill the momentum. It's just always built.
Like I like the moment at the end when they're both shooting each other, and his bullet goes through his bullet. And You know, it's foreshadowing.
Cool,
you know, like it's a nice parallel from where. Well, it's a callback to earlier, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, I like little things like that, and that was I did enjoy that, and it looked good as well, like the bullet being split and stuff.
No, there was nice moments.
Oh, there were some nice moments in the film. I just feel like it could have been a better film. Warner Brothers been like, right, come on, fuck off, you know.
Well, just I would have edited it differently, to be honest.
Well, I think we should do a fan edit of this and make it a better film and cut some of the things from the film that we don't like and see.
I'd be cutting out the giant.
Well, how long is this film?
It's too long. I don't know.
It is too long.
Is it like over 2 hours long? It's longer than Harley Quinn.
I think so.
But yeah, the part where, cause I literally said to you, if Polka Dot Man, envisions his giant mother, like
being Star of the Conqueror, which is something I think they did really well in the film as Star of the Conqueror.
Oh, I love the villain.
I think they did a great interpretation of Star of the Conqueror. Yeah.
The villain's kind of terrifying because the whole like the starfish being on people's heads, that was freaky. Actually kind of gave me Watchmen vibes. It was kind of weird. There's something creepy about it. But yeah, I like that, but just not the giant mother. It was so, we already seen it done earlier. We
Twice?
didn't need it. Yeah, we'd seen it done so many times. I was like, we don't need a giant mother. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Just let it be in like kind of a show don't tell. Like just let it. I don't know what's the word. They could have just cut to a close up of him.
Be subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't need a big fuck off mother rampage in the city.
I just find it weird that people are saying, "Oh, best comic movie ever." What a genius! You know, James Gunn is a genius. I don't get it. It's a very average film, personally. I give it like 4.5, 5 out of 10, and that's being generous. I think it's a very average film, personally.
See, I just
Birds
don't
of Prey
like
is better.
the thing that was going on between John Cena's character. You know, the kind of the dick jokes, the whole thing about.
Did you keep the counter?
I gave up after a while.
We both tried to keep count, and we both ran out. We both lost count. There was that many dick jokes, and they weren't funny.
Well, the whole scene was a dick joke where they were.
Oh, the dick off. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't appreciate. I don't find funny anymore.
No.
Like it's 2021. It's not funny anymore.
No. It does feel like a
it's
film
very
that
childish. Like
should have came out like 20 years ago.
It is. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you'd seen it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It would be like Seth Rogen or something.
Yeah.
Like, just a man-child kind of movie, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I didn't enjoy it.
It does feel like this very dated film.
The only thing I do love is Harley Quinn's sequence. You know, when she's breaking herself out.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. I don't think it was shot well. I don't think it looks good.
No, I think Birds of Prey does it
so well though.
Yeah, but I think it's just they try to do Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
And it didn't really.
Not really work.
Well, they just tried to do a Birds of Prey, and it didn't really pay off as much as Birds of Prey.
Well, it's just because it's a different film though.
But I just think Birds of Prey does the action sequences better.
Yeah, but I did like.
And they're more brutal.
Yeah.
Somehow. Like, that's an R-rated film and it feels more brutal than this.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot more gory, which isn't... Well, I don't get the whole R-rated gory thing. It's not really terrifying or anything,
well,
right?
It's cheesy.
Yeah. Like in Birds of Prey, when Harley Quinn breaks your man's leg, then his other leg, and then breaks his kneecap, and then clicks the knee back into place the other way, and he falls. Like, stuff like that is more R-rated, I feel, than... Oh, someone got their fucking head blown off, like...
Yeah. It's just so over the top and unnecessary.
It is very unnecessary. Yeah. It's like he tried to do Deadpool mixed with Guardians, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, I always think that idea of things that you don't see or subtle
It works
things
better.
are far more terrifying.
Yeah.
And like
Show don't
the
tell,
actual
essentially.
the actual scary part of the whole film was Waller and the whole actual plot. Where it was the government and it was all a lie. Like, that's the terrifying thing of I think that's what's scary about
But
the
I
film.
just think the whole big villain third act thing doesn't work. It's just, alright, third act, there's a big massive monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
one scene about it earlier on, but other than that, nothing.
The thing I think about it though is because it is a group of villains, whenever they learn that the government have done this, none of them are really shocked. Like, only Rick Flag is upset about it.
Because he's not really a villain, though. That's
he's
why
a good
he's
guy.
a hero, yeah.
Yeah. So then I just felt I got no payoff at the end because none of the villains, they only cared about saving their own asses, which I know that's what the film's about, but there was no payoff because nobody, bar Ratcatcher, but they still didn't like
Sebastian
expose
the
the
Rat
government. Yeah,
he's the greatest character in
good
this film.
yeah. Even all the CGI rats, they were okay.
King Shark's alright.
King Shark.
He's quite cute. Like, I was very annoyed
He's
going into this because I was
lovely,
like, King Shark's meant to be a beast like the Hulk and stuff. I started watching it, like, listen, it's one of the few things I enjoy about this film. I don't really care that they changed his character.
Well, I like that he's different because he just would have been the same as all the other men in the film.
Yeah.
Like, Polka Dot Man and him are the... Well, I don't mind Rick Flag, but I do like that King Shark and Polka Dot Man are different characters and the same three men. It's like, there's only 3 types of men in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one type of man, I should say. But yeah. I don't really have much else to say. What was the Freedom Fighters thing? You looked at me. I was like, is this a very bad... Right, no, sorry.
What do you mean?
This is such a...
What do you mean?
diversion.
What are you talking about?
When
When they killed all the freedom fighters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just felt weird about the Freedom Fighters because of Falcon the Winter Soldier.
Moving on. Moving on.
I just felt it was weird.
But no, what would you sort of say overall about these?
I want to understand why people like that Suicide Squad movie. I just don't know. I can't figure out. I just think I'm mental.
Well, I'm shocked that people don't like Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey is very mid in terms of people's eyes. Like, very few people see it, and the people that didn't enjoy it that much. I don't know,
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to sell though. Yeah.
Oh, it is a hard sell because it's like, who the fuck are the Birds of Prey? Like, unless you are a comic fan or you've watched the shitty Birds of Prey TV show.
But it is also like predominantly female, which doesn't.
Oh, it's all of it.
Yeah. Which doesn't really, and even like the villain.
Ewan McGregor
he's not like, he's an LGBT character, so it gets a wee bit. A lot of people aren't into that.
That's true.
Which I think is why maybe a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's actually a solid film,
everyone,
regardless of whether
it's weirdly enough, everyone has seen Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad. No one has probably seen Birds of Prey. If anything, it's the one you should see.
That's the good one.
That's the one I think. I mean, I think we should sort of like end on this, but I feel like the one thing I do want to see, and the one thing like I'm kind of always kind of like waiting for, especially because the Suicide Squad's come out now, is the haircut, and I do think it is something that
release the haircut
a lot of fans kind of want to see as well, and I think it would be interesting, especially now that we've seen Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think there's a lot of interesting things that happen in that film that we don't know about, but I'd like to know about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm just so sick of studios butchering a director's vision of the film. Like, either let them have full control or just get somebody who's willing to have no control.
Yeah.
Well, not full control, but let them at least explore what they want to do, and then you can put your foot in places, but like, don't micromanage the shit out of a film.
Pretty much.
So release the haircut.
Release the haircut, that's what we're saying. So yeah, no, that was episode 18 of the Stay Podcast. Thank you to Buzzsprout for hosting, as always. Follow us on Instagram at the Stay Podcast, or on Twitter, even though we don't use it, at State of Podcasts. Once again, it still has the old logo on there. And Dave and myself will be back next week for Bioshock Infinite. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Good night.